Welcome back to Market to Market. As we continue our post-budget discussion, I'm joined on set by Mr. Neil A. Mohammed, Chartered Accountant and Attorney at Law. Welcome to Market to Market.
Thanks very much, Crystal. Thanks for allowing me the privilege of being here on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Trinidad and Tobago. And good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago.
Wasn't a switcheroo.
No, it was not. Yeah. And you would know that the other phase after that will be for commercial properties, commercial owners, and then agricultural landowners, you understand? And then finally, residential owners. Yeah.
The minister talked about some measures to address leakages in the tax system. Let's talk about that a bit.
Well, okay, what the minister, to put it in simple terms, brought about an aspect of what is called transfer pricing. And it's more prevalent when you have what is called group companies and inter-group transactions, okay? Transfer pricing comes about when perhaps one company, in italics, sells an asset to another one of its associated companies at a value, okay? And it's not considered what is called an arm's length transaction. Arm's length is what we would mean is that if, we go to a bank and I borrow money from you, or you purchase an asset like a property from me, we will have a proper sale and offer, sales and purchase agreement. We will probably have some deed of transfer, conveyance, in some cases a deed of mortgage by if you're getting financing and whatever. So everything is above board arm's length. Yeah, in a lot of these intergroup transfers, we would call it, it's one's just selling to another, and it's at little or no terms of agreement. And what I think has been found, and he's talking about amending the Corporation Tax Act, you understand, which obviously relates to limited companies, you understand. You would find perhaps one company selling another one an asset, you understand, at what might be a used asset. So this would be an asset that has been written down, meaning it has been depreciated to an extent. But what you find some companies doing up there is that they would have the asset, revalue it, at probably some arbitrary valuation and bring it into their books at a higher acquisition cost. What that means is that they, with their corporation tax purposes, would claim what is called wear and tear allowance or depreciation on that higher acquisition cost. To get it, in some cases, if it's plant and equipment, plant and machinery, you also enjoy what is called initial allowance, which is an extra allowance to encourage companies to invest in plant and equipment, machinery, and that kind of thing. So what the Honorable Minister is saying, look, hey, you know what? If a group company is to purchase an asset from another that is not really at arm's length, you would value that asset at its written down value or market value, and you will put it into your books at that market value, which indirectly means is that your wear and tear cost or your wear and tear allowances, you understand, are going to be at a lot less, so that you're not getting the benefit of these higher allowances, which reduces your tax liability. So it's a fair, for a fair asset that you're buying, you would claim the necessary allowances and pay your fair amount of corporation tax.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the fiscal measures that have been proposed?
Well, when I look through the fiscal measures, which I have a copy of the budget right in front of me, it only goes over about 2-3 pages, and it is really not a lot of fiscal measures. You would notice that the Honourable Minister, even in the opening part of his budget speech, spoke about the gaming industry, the private members clubs, which has gone unregulated for so many years that he's saying, look, hey, time to pull the reins in, okay? Over the next fiscal year, I am going to, bet and levy shops and whatever, we're going to increase your licenses, I think from 100 to 200,000, but with a view of getting legislation passed to help regulate these private members clubs and whatever, to bring them properly into the tax net. Yes, okay? He also made mention of the aspect of quarrying and illegal quarrying. That is very prevalent in some of the outskirts of Trinidad, kind of whether it be in the Valencia, Sangre Chiquito, Maracas areas. And what he's saying, a lot of individuals and in some cases companies carry on quarrying operations to the detriment of the environment, to the detriment of the people and the villagers and the little towns around them, and getting away unscathed. Not, they don't pay any taxes and what have you. So what he's saying, if anyone is found to be quarrying illegally, you're going to come the full brunt of the penalty and fines, which I think has been gone up to $500,000, in some cases 700,000, and what have you. So with a view of seeking to limit the persons or the companies that seek to carry on that activity. Yeah. One of the other fiscal measures that really comes to mind, we spoke about a little bit about the leakages already. There's some other areas of the leakages that I can touch on if you would so like.
Sure.
You understand? In fact, I could do that now. Is that one of the proposals of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, ICAT, we had a session with the Honorable Minister a couple of months ago, where he invited some of the stakeholder groups to have like an intervention with him, you understand, after the celebration of the first 6 months of the previous budget. So groups like the Bankers Association, ATIC, the insurance group, the Chartered Accountants, or whatever, we met with the Honorable Minister, and we made some proposals to him. And one of them, you understand, was about widening the tax net. Crystal, there's a lot of individuals out there, and I mean no disrespect to them, totally, again, I use the word get away unscathed, and this has no political innuendos there, all right? But they literally get away unscathed. I mean, you have the little mini-mart owners, you have the nutsmen, the doubles vendors, and they carry on a tidy...
The lessons teachers.
The lessons teachers, thank you. They carry on a tidy trade, you understand? And this no way is being, declared in any form of tax return and whatever. In fact, a lot of them are not even registered with the Board of Inland Revenue. So years upon years go by and they don't contribute anything. But yet, they are just like you and I, enjoy the benefits being, whether it be in the form of subsidies, infrastructure, and what have you. And that's wrong. I think everyone should pay their fair share and come under the umbrella. You understand? So that's what we recommended to the Honourable Minister about widening the net a little bit. And perhaps it's not this year, but perhaps another year he may look at it. Yeah. But coming back to the fiscal measures, your first question to me, the only thing of any notable, well, I want to use the word importance, but tangible that I've seen, is the increase in the customs duty by 25% on vehicles, both foreign use and new, over a 2499 cc. And I think what the Honourable Minister is seeking to do there is twofold. One is to seek to encourage new car owners, whether foreign use or new, to buy smaller engines. You understand? Which obviously will consume less gas and diesel, which obviously would make less of a burden the fuel subsidy. That's one. And I think another reason why he has instituted this is an indirect way that usually those vehicles, like the high-end luxury vehicles, the Prados and the X5s and whatever you find a lot of the more affluent folk by purchasing these vehicles. Yet they pay at the pump the same price as the maxi-taxi owners and the T vehicles. Yeah? And I think what he's seeking to do is say, okay, it's probably difficult to try to regulate you at the pump. Here what? You pay an extra 25% custom duty depending on the CC. You understand? I think the present custom duties are between 20 and 45%. You're going to pay 25% more. So I'm going to tax you upfront for what you're going to enjoy with the gas or diesel subsidy, well, the fuel subsidy, that is, over the life of that vehicle that you have purchased. And I think that's it's an indirect way to help the fuel subsidy.
How do you feel about government's plan to move away from offering tax holidays as an incentive for investment?
I think when, tax holidays has always been a sweetener for foreign direct investors, yes? But I think we live in a world where it's a level playing field, yes? And you would find that some countries that are still offering that, you understand, are probably, as I use the term, a sweetener, you understand, that probably has a little bit of a competitive edge to other islands or other countries, yeah? So I think that by seeking to eliminate these tax holidays and say, look, hey, Trinidad has a lot to offer. You're already probably enjoying great prices on things like natural gas, the cost of doing business, the infrastructure of the country, and whatever you look at. We cannot further offer you these tax holidays because at the end of the day, Crystal, we need to generate revenue. And that's the name of the game right now. Generate revenue, help decrease expenditure.
What would you say was the best thing about the budget?
No new taxes, no new increase in taxes. But that being said, I think it offers Trinidad and Tobago some hope. Over the last 4 years or so, we have had very low GDP growth. Yeah, I think now when you look at the economic climate, as I've indicated before, GDP growth expected to be 2.5% next year, going to be about 1.6, 1.8 this year. You're hearing that the oil and gas companies, like the BPs and the BGs, are coming out of their maintenance mode. They're going to ramp back up production, you understand, because we are just presently doing like about 70,000, 80,000 barrels of oil per day when we just about 4 or 5 years ago was doing 120, 130,000 odd. Yes? So that, in my humble opinion, you understand, is good news because that will only encourage, in my humble opinion, economic activity. And it would have that positive effect both on individuals, business owners, and everyone in a fashion that would say, okay, I can be a little more relaxed knowing that, hey, things are not that bad. The country is in a pretty decent position compared to others. And, perhaps a recession is not on the horizon. I don't need to be worried to that extent. But I'm not saying that you go and you spend out all your savings. Certainly not. I'm just saying that, you can spend, but still with a level of prudence. You understand? But knowing that, hey, the economy should be pretty stable over the long, short to medium term.
Do you have any final thoughts as we wrap up?
I think that, I want to congratulate the Honorable Minister in presenting. I think this is his second budget, you understand? One that I think makes a lot of sense, yes. I think he has predicated, he's very prudent in having based it on an oil price of, I think, US $80 a barrel. Presently prices are like 110 on average. A gas price of 2.75 per MMBTU. Gas right now is over $3, yes? So I want to congratulate him because what that would in effect do, Crystal, and which has been done in the last year, has been able to decrease our deficit that has been projected, yes? It's been projected as $6.3 billion deficit. I am of the opinion once expenditure does not go through the roof or go that is unplanned, then we should be seeing in the next year another decrease in the level of deficit. And perhaps by 2016, we may have a balanced budget.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us.
My absolute pleasure.
We've come to the end of this week's episode of Market to Market. Thanks for staying with us. As always, we love hearing from you. Connect with us on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll see you back here next week. Take care.